Most people I speak to, when they ask about the Zondo Commission, they say, oh, it was a waste of time. Nothing's happened and nobody is in orange overalls. You have a slightly kinder assessment, more kind.
Sure. So I think I got a very interesting question. I think it was yesterday at the book launch at Exclusive Books about what is the metric we use to judge the Zondo Commission, right? Because everybody that I've spoken to, and I understand the impulse, the metric is who's gone to jail.
Yes.
Right? And
no orange overalls.
Exactly. So if nobody goes to jail, then it's a waste of time. Right? And I take a slightly different perspective. First of all, I totally understand that impulse. Like I want to see people in orange overalls as much as anybody else. And I still sort of hope we're going to get there at some point. It's going to take some time, but we'll get there. But I think the commission has its own inherent value. And there's a couple things there that I think are very important. One is that I think as South Africans, we tend to forget what it was like 10 years ago or even 7 years ago when we had officials standing in front of us telling us that a swimming pool was a fire pool, which was the most, incredible experience of being told lies to your face repeatedly and almost joyously, because it was an expression of the ability to tell lies that everybody knows is a lie. It was an expression of power. To have something like the Zondo Commission to establish its own political reality, which is really pretty incontrovertible. I mean, nobody can say the Zondo Commission isn't a proper investigation, isn't thorough in what it did. You may disagree with some of its findings, but fundamentally, it is a record of a period of time that cannot be gainsaid. And that's, I think that's really fundamental. I do also think that there's a lot of enforcement that's happened from the Zondo Commission that isn't reported on enough.
Like?
So there's lots of stuff the SIU has done. There's a huge number of cases the Asset Forfeiture Unit has brought to seize funds. We've recouped more funds from corporations effectively paying fines or getting a fright from the bad publicity than it cost for the Zondo Commission to take place. And the Zondo Commission famously is R1 billion. There's way more that's been recovered from the Zondo Commission process. Just the amount of money that McKinsey paid back is more than that. So, I think there's the enforcement stuff as well. And I think it also misunderstands, and I know I'm probably speaking too long, but
no.
One part of the Zondo Commission was to understand, was the detailed criminality and uncover what state capture had happened at certain places. But that wasn't the essence of the second part of the commission, which is to grapple with why, and to start putting like very concrete proposals for how we can fix things. I mean, what I was quite surprised by when I reread the reports and I read them again and I was writing it up is how many times you had these incredibly interesting discussions that nobody's talking about, but which are like, wow, this is like mind-blowing, this is in here. I mean, the one that I always thought was, there's a couple that I think are brilliant, but the one that I stick with because it's this really brilliant forensic constitutional law takedown of cadre deployment, where basically Zondo says cadre deployment is unconstitutional, and this is at the heart of why we have so many problems with our SEOs, which I sort of feel like was a bit of a hint to people, like, if anybody wants to challenge cadre deployment, the Constitutional Court might be interested. But he set like a series of proposals, not every one that I agree with, but he gave a very thorough analytical understanding of what corruption was in South Africa and how to tackle it, which I think is a springboard for further action, right? It gives us a lattice work of proposals we can pick and choose and improve on to go forward. Whether we go forward with them, that's a different matter, but I also don't think that's on Zondo.